The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our 30 on Thursday webinar, Integrating Teams and Planner for Better Project Management. Just a little introduction before we get started. Protiviti provides consulting solutions in finance, technology, analytics, governance, risk, and internal audit to our clients through our network of more than 70 offices in over 20 countries. Our full-service software solutions team provides consulting and on-demand support for SharePoint, Office 365, Salesforce, Nintex, Sitecore, Kentico, SQL, and .NET. Our 30 on Thursday webinar series is a monthly 30-minute webinar series where we talk all things software solutions. You can see our full event schedule on our website, and also check out our blog at ecm.protiviti.com/blog. We've been covering a lot of Office 365 how-tos, best practices, and many more topics there, so check that out. Protiviti provides Office 365 planning, management, and implementation. The Office 365 OPMI offering provides IT administration governance planning, security assessments, tenant configuration, feature roadmaps, foundation implementation, and so much more. You can find more information at ecm.protiviti.com. In addition to that offering, we also provide on-demand support and training for Office 365. Our on-demand support team provides flexible on-demand support. They provide their own dedicated Office 365 account manager, and we also provide private in-person training and online training for Office 365. If you're interested in any of our Office 365 services, you can check out our website. Today's session is being recorded. You can access the recording of today's session on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ProtivitiSP, as well as all of our past recordings. For questions during today's presentation, please submit them in the question window of the GoToMeeting toolbar. We will be saving all the questions until after the presentation today. Today's presenters are Scott Lonheim, Associate Director here at Protiviti, and Adam Kouba, Senior Consultant. And I am Julia Marple, and I will be moderating today's session. All right, Scott, I will hand it over to you.
Great, thanks, Julia. All right. So let's talk a little bit about overviews of Teams and Planner. One of the questions that we get a lot about Planner is this a good solution? Does it work? What are some of the limitations? What are some of the strengths? I'm going to assume that most people on this call already have a fairly good overview of some of the features of Teams, as that's one of the more popular offerings in the O365 suite. So persistent chat, being able to share files, those files are stored in the back end in a SharePoint Online site. And the ability to plug in applications into the Teams collaboration panel is one of the great strengths of how it can bring multiple applications together to assist in collaboration. So Planner. Planner is really a lighter weight task management solution. Now, when we compare this to heavier weight or other project management tools, Visual Studio Team Services come to mind, which is on really the larger scale, great at very complex projects, long-running projects, and engagements with multiple teams, even scaling up to the enterprise can all be handled with something like Team Services. Planner's really focused on more of a smaller team and maybe smaller scope of work. What it does really, really well, though, is it's incredibly intuitive to use, it's fast to set up, and it's extremely flexible without the need for a lot of the in-depth configuration that would be required for larger case management tools, Jira, Visual Studio, and things like that. Integrations. One of the things that they've really been working on, or Microsoft's been working on for Planner, is integrating Planner with other applications. Teams, obviously, we'll be talking about today. There is a new Outlook add-in that just got released for managing notifications from Planner in email. There's mobile apps already available for all of the major platforms. And there's integration coming up for things like iCal and Gmail to help make sure that tasks get onto people's schedules. Now, limitations with Planner are something that really need to be taken into consideration. One of the reasons why I would really recommend using Planner for small teams and small scope is because of some of the current limitations that we have on the objects in Planner itself. 250 tasks assigned to user per user across all plans. 1,500 tasks created by a single user. 250 active tasks and 100 tasks per bucket are displayed. There's more that are stored. Now, some of these limits you can get around when you're hitting the limit on things like task creation. We can go back and delete old tasks and repurpose old tasks to get around those limits. The problem that brings up is if you're using your task history for any long-term reporting or long-term tracking, it kind of breaks some of that functionality. But if you're really using your tasks as a, what do we need to do now going forward, or what's our recent view, Planner is really an excellent tool for that. And so we'll get into some of that functionality here in a little bit. We've included a link to the roadmap here. I know it's hard for you guys to click into a presentation, but that is the official Planner roadmap blog. On these limits, there was an announcement at Ignite last year that they were going to be working on removing those, and we've kept on top of that. And there's been some advancement in that when you hit some of these limits, it'll automatically prompt you. But for the most part, these limits really have not been fixed. So while Planner, I really love a lot of the task management features of Planner, some of these data limitations should give you pause if you're thinking about spinning up Planner on a larger or complex project. Teams private channels is one of the single most requested Teams feature that really hasn't hit yet, especially with some of O365's capabilities of being able to extend guest access to people outside of your organization. Being able to spin up a private channel where you can restrict those conversations just to like a leadership group or a vendor team or a client team is something a lot of people have been asking for. And it's right now, I still think that's one of Slack's big strengths over Teams. Okay, jumping in. So I wanted to show you what it's like to set up Planner from within a team site. It's really the easiest way to go about it. In Teams, there's the Add a Tab feature, and you'll see a list of common and available O365 and other applications pop up. Today, we're really looking at the Planner tab. So we'll add it. When we add, generally it's going to be creating a new plan. You do have the option to use an existing plan, although I have found that existing plan list only shows up from other plans that have already been created in Teams. I'm not sure if that's a known issue or just something that I've noticed on my end, but keep that in mind. So for that reason, I would just really suggest setting them up this way. So we'll give it a quick name. And we are up and running. Planner is really organized by buckets. So a bucket, you can think of it as a swim lane. For those of you who've used other project management tools, you might be reminded of a Kanban board right here. There are some differences. We'll talk through it. One of the reasons you'll think that is to do generally the kind of the base 3 agile statuses of to do and progress done. There are also statuses on the tickets, which really lends Planner a little bit better to be used by functional swim lanes for project areas. So I'm going to set up a few things here. It's really easy to change things. Just click on them, and then when we're ready to add a ticket, we really just enter a ticket name. How about a kickoff meeting? And how about a status report scheduling? I can just simply type and hit enter, and it'll keep creating tickets and keep creating tasks. Now, a little typo there. When I go into the task, I have really a lot of options at the task level here. I can assign a bucket. I have default statuses of not started, in progress, and completed. Now, that's really why I say that you probably want to set up your buckets as functional areas rather than a Kanban board style, because you already have progress that's tracked separately from the buckets. We can set start dates, due dates. This will help with the calendar integration. We can add a checklist. This is one of my favorite features here, is that you can simply add really quickly new things to a ticket and make one ticket appear and function differently than another ticket without having to go through without having to go through like work item type customization, or in VSTS or Jira issue customization, things like that. It really surfaces a lot of that flexibility directly to the user, which I think is one of its big strengths. We can add attachments, comments. We can assign it. We can even show the checklist on the card, so it can be checked off as we are working on it, and those will disappear. Let me show you what some other things that are fully built out looks like. If you click on the Expand tab, it'll take you to the Planner O365 site. And so I've got a couple examples already set up in here of what some of those look like. We've got this is modeled on like an internal audit track for any of those of you in the call who may work in that space. We've got assignments. When people grab a ticket, they can mark it off. And Adam, I've got you on the call there. In the 30T Planner functional, if you wouldn't mind maybe marking something off as I talk through here, we can take a look. Basic reporting in Teams or in Planner. So we've got a breakdown of items by swim lane, really what's done and what's not done. We've got a scroll bar over on the right that lists things, and a simple pie chart. This is about as in-depth as the reporting gets for Planner out of the box. So like I said, this isn't focused on calculating velocity or managing a large program. It's really team size to help people manage their tasks going forward, and it'll give you views on what's been done historically. Now, if some of the data limitations are to get removed, which hopefully they will be, it would allow for kind of continual use of Planner for an ongoing project, which really is just kind of outside of our recommendation at this point. All right. Plan settings. There are some base notification options for sending things out to the team. It's very basic right now. The Outlook O365 notification add-in expands that a bit. If we're looking at inside of Teams, though, we have a chat panel, which allows us to talk and collaborate directly with our teams without needing to rely on email as much, which I know is a lot of people's goals as far as going through this. Now, back on the Planner side, I'm going to go through a little bit more of the tickets in detail. So as far as organizing tickets, we can organize by buckets. Obviously, we would track progress. We have descriptions, checklists, attachments can be added. One of the nice things here is that they've also added another layer of organization called tabs. And these tabs can be used in a number of different ways. For those of you who have used things like Visual Studio Team Services, and you have used things like Jira, you'll notice that sometimes you just need an extra level of way to note things, mark them. How do I go back and find these? And the labels here really provide a lot of that flexibility. So they can be set individually and they'll show up, and you can simply click and and add one or more to a ticket. Okay. So Adam, we have you on the line here.
Yep.
All right. If we want to go through, would you mind going through and updating a couple of these tickets up? I see that, nope, that was my update. In the new one I just set up, if you want to go in and edit some of those, maybe close out a couple tickets so we can get some of that moving through.
Yep.
And we can take a look at the schedule feature also. So while Adam is updating some tickets here, we've set some start and end dates on some of the schedules, and we can set a start anytime. And what the schedule will do, let me edit some so there's some in the current time frame. Start today, going through the end of the month. And we will update this 19. And that will show up on the planning tab. Now on the Teams view, you don't quite get as much information as you do in the full application. And one of the new things that have just been added, board charts and schedule, are new features that have just popped up in the Teams instance of Planner over the last month or two. So Microsoft is currently adding a lot of new features to this. So this can act as a nice shared calendar for the teams. That is a nice add. Still maybe not as nice as removing all of the data limitations, but it does get a lot done. There's tracking of unscheduled tasks as well. So for a lot of project managers, if you're going through and building out a backlog of tickets, those can sit unassigned, sit assigned, and as we go through, we can assign them to team members as they bubble up to the top of the board. Now, one of the things with boards and prioritization is being able to change priority, being able to move things around. So there's simple drag and drops for board management, just like you would expect in other leading case management tools. If you do choose to set up a project in a Kanban format, and I've got one here with a to-do, in progress, working, review, done, or whatever states you want to track, you can really move things across those swim lanes to track progress as well. Now, what that does do, if you use this style, is your statuses start to mean less because you've really represented your statuses by bucket, which may be fine. If a project is small enough in scope or tidy enough, you may choose for the simpleness of a Kanban board rather than adding that extra layer. As things get larger and more complex, really shifting over to that functional area where you can track things is probably a bit more helpful. Now, as far as a project manager helping the team, one of our big things is helping the team identify, which things are high priority, which things are low. Assignments are part of that, but really the visual stack ranking, when I'm doing my normal job as a product owner on development teams, stack ranking is important. It's really big. Making sure that the team stays focused on the single most important task is a great way to help ensure that they're delivering as much as they can. All right. And similar to the Kanban board, charts, Got it. Okay. All right, I'm hitting most of the things in my checklist for demo here. Now, when we're looking at back to Teams, the main integration right now is chat, and the conversations and postings from those can be surfaced up to the general. Although for task level discussions, really the chat channel on the Teams tab is where you want to be. All right, Julia, I think we're about ready for questions here.
Okay, great. Please insert your questions in the question window. We do have a couple here. One was about the recording. We will be posting the recording on our YouTube channel. We will be sending out the link to everyone on today's call so you guys can rewatch the demo. First question, when is the multi-geo coming to Teams and Planner?
A multi-geo, yeah, that's a question we get a lot from some of our larger companies. Multi-geo, for those on the call wondering, that would be physically where is my data stored. With the rise of GDPR concerns, this is becoming a bigger issue for more and more companies, and it's being rolled out differently across different slices of the O365 ecosystem. Being able to choose from a select list of countries or regions is available for Exchange and SharePoint Online and OneDrive. The question we get a lot is, as far as Teams and guest access, when is multi-geo coming for Teams? Microsoft has been, across kind of all O365, they're a little cagey on release dates, which is understandable. Under promise, over deliver, hopefully. They've said it's possible that Teams multi-geo may be coming in 2018, but it's really uncertain. I have not seen any multi-geo plans for the data that is in Planner. Now, Planner may be less of a concern, as there should tend to be less sensitive data in there that needs to be maintained. But the files that you upload through Planner are still stored in a SharePoint Online instance in the back end. So I hope that answers your question. It's here for a lot of it. Teams is still like a big question mark as far as when multi-geo is going to roll out. And Planner, I'm not sure if that's, as far as ticket information, I'm not sure if that's going to be on the roadmap or not. We'll wait and see.
Okay. How do you change the logo on the Teams site? I see a custom logo on one of your teams.
Good question. So if we go into, that is actually a great question. I'm not sure if I have done that before. So if we go to edit team, no, we don't have it there. I'm going to take that as a follow-up question, and we will send that back out to the group when we get the answer for that.
Okay, great. Can you restrict the ability to have dates changed on tasks you assign to someone?
Yeah, so centralized control of Planner. Planner is really more intended as team collaborative-ware. So as far as restricting permissions to objects, if you're looking to lock things down or control certain behaviors, you're probably looking for a more full-featured solution for that. Right now, there's no way that I'm aware of, at least, as far as locking permissions down so that things aren't changed.
Okay, and how do we change the notification settings and see what's available?
Oh, great. So notifications in Teams, if we go into, notifications in Teams. So in Teams, we would go on to, there are, nope. There, I'm looking for the settings menu. There we go, manage team, the gear. So settings and member permissions.
I believe the team picture is right there as well.
Oh, here we go. Team picture answers the question. So that was the gear I was looking for. Member permissions, guest permissions, the notification settings for Teams itself.
Scott, it's under mentions. There's a couple options.
Oh, is it under mentions? Thanks, Adam.
Yep.
There we
so
go.
Most of the emails and notifications that get out of Teams are going to be being added or mentioned, and there you can do some changes as to when you get emails and when those are sent. Similar with Planner.
Keep in mind that some of those decisions of what gets sent over, there's a couple different layers for that. So there's the configuration in Teams itself. Depending on what integration add-ins you're using, such as for Outlook or Visual Team Services, those individual plugins also have notification options at the add-in that you can manage as far as things like what channel they show up in and who gets notified in what method.
And it goes without saying, but all of these different settings are only editable by the owners of the groups, including the team picture.
Correct. So when you set up a team, the person who sets it up will automatically be the owner. That's myself here. You can go in and easily promote other people to team owner as well. And I also happen to know that a team membership owner and member, that can also be set via the Graph API or via PowerShell script too, if you guys are looking to to automating some of your team's deployments and user management.
And Scott, can you remind everyone how you get to these settings here?
Yeah, so that was from here, manage team. So on the team itself, you've got your list of teams. If we expand that, you'll get the list of channels. So the ellipse and then the gear will get you to manage teams.
Okay, great. One more question and then we'll have to end for today. Is there any way to get a real percent complete for tasks?
So let's go into the charts. So it'll give you 4 tasks left. It doesn't give you a percentage. You can do the math yourself. But yeah, it doesn't give you like a clean project complete, or my personal favorite, which is a burn up chart that shows a scope line as a target and then the burn up of tasks or work items to complete that. So the reporting is fairly bare. This is another reason why I say it's the flexibility and ease of use is ideal for a small team and a small project. But as far as really ongoing program level or complex things, it's a little too lightweight. And I'm hoping that with some of those data limitations, I would really recommend that a lot of times it's a better fit for business teams, maybe than IT teams, just because some of the complexity and some of the standard reporting that you would expect out of an IT case management tool, it just really isn't built in as part of the lightweight scope. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, great. I think that is all the questions we have today. Thank you, Scott and Adam, for the great presentation. Lots of great information here. Again, the presentation will be on our YouTube channel and the link will be sent out to all the attendees on today's call. Thank you, Scott, for the presentation. We appreciate everyone for attending today and we will see you next month. Have a great day, everyone.
Great. Thanks, everyone.